This is Jackie, the narrator of this real estate webinar. I would like to thank everyone involved for participating, and I'd like to introduce Mark Lucas, the CEO of The Shopping Company. The Shopping Company is an online marketplace that has a wide variety of items, with products ranging from pet supplies to mobile accessories, and especially for realtors, home accents, and furniture. Today, we will be talking with Mark about the Silent Marketing Solution, which is a long-term retention tool for real estate agents, developers, and builders as a closing gift. Mark, why don't you tell us a little more about how Silent Marketing Solution works, and then we will go into questions.
Thank you, Jackie, for having me, and appreciate everybody taking the time to talk with me about the Silent Marketing Solution. Primarily, what happens in the entire real estate industry is you have two fundamental problems. The first of which is the fact that you have a product that has an incredibly long life cycle. Most homeowners will stay in a house at least 7 years. Average could be even longer than that. So this isn't the type of product where you can say, well, we know that in a year or two or even three, this person is going to come back and want to buy another one. This isn't a washer and dryer or a set of tires where brand loyalty is structured around the short life cycle. And that's an important part because obviously the first thing that happens after somebody moves their new home, particularly if they're having it built or if they're maybe buying a spec home, something of that nature, they're going to know who built it in the beginning. But that quickly gets lost in the moving process and the living process, etc. The other fundamental problem really is the fact that you can't brand a home as easily as you say a car. For example, if you own a Honda or an Audi or for the really happy people out there, a Ferrari, you can brand that car in almost any place you want. There's typically a badge on the nose. There's particularly a badge on the tail end of it. There's going to be badges inside the cockpit, so you're always reminded of what kind of car you're driving. And the idea being that if that car experience has been pleasant, you're going to go purchase another one of those cars. Homes don't have that. Their fundamental flaw is the fact that you can't very well put a big giant logo of the builder or of the real estate agent or of the development company on the wall. So with the problem now being established, the question becomes, well, how do you solve it? And that's what the Silent Marketing Solution is really all about. Because what we've done is we've taken the inherent longevity problem and said, how do we solve that? The Silent Marketing Solution really becomes the long-term retention tool. An agent or builder or developer can come in and they can purchase, let's say, a 3-year membership to the program. So for the next 3 years, every time the person they've given that to shops on the Shopping Company and they purchase things for their home or their family or their dogs or cats or anything else, they automatically get, of course, a sales receipt. And that sales receipt is branded with the Shopping Company and the agent or the development company or the real estate company, etc. And the reason it's called silent really is because you're not being bombarded. We all get tired of the endless supply of emails from name your favorite retail store. It doesn't matter, Walmart, Target, Saks Fifth Avenue, whatever it happens to be. We tend to just start to overlook those. Receipts, on the other hand, things that we've purchased, things that we've now wanted to include in our life. Now, because we're branding those receipts, imagine, if you will, you purchase a home, you move into that home, and in the process of moving, a mirror breaks. But, okay, you need to put a mirror. Or, let's go a different direction. Let's assume that the wall is quite a bit bigger than that, maybe that little apartment you were living in. Suddenly those pictures don't fit anymore. You decide you want another one. Okay, so now what we do is that person goes on the Shopping Company, buys the painting, buys the mirror, buys whatever they need to fill that space, and they purchase that item. That receipt comes in. It's got thank you very much from the Shopping Company. It's got thank you very much from Bob's Real Estate Company, whatever it happens to be. And every single time over the next amount of months, years, that receipt is constantly reminding those people of what and who gave them that opportunity. It's the positive reinforcement method, okay? If, for example, they have one good experience, then that's going to positively affect how they feel about all the people who gave them that membership. If they have two good experiences, it's not just times two, it's exponential. If they have five good experiences, it's not five, it's 50. The power of positive reinforcement is massive in the marketing world. And that's what makes it an important tool in the arsenal of a real estate agent or a builder or a developer. We simply cannot live in a world, for an agent in particularly, where a basket of fruit or a candle or muffins or chocolate is simply going to suffice anymore, because those products are all gone within days. On a candle, you might get a month out of it, but it's really hard to put your logo on a piece of fruit. It's really hard to put your logo on something long term that will actually affect how people can respond to their lives and how people can affect their lives on a daily basis. Certainly, there are other programs out there, and we can talk about those programs, but they always have the single problem of not giving the person that is receiving it one of two things: either the variety that they may want and need of products, okay, i.e., you're going to give them, let's say, a set of steak knives, or more importantly, a limitation. A gift card that's worth $50 is only worth $50. A $59 membership to the Silent Marketing Solution can provide years of unending purchasing power, and that's where it certainly is an important step in the process. So, kind of bringing this around full circle, is the agents and the developers and the builders who utilize this program are going to find that what they're really seeing is, again, what we call that long-term retention, the long-term marketing retention that other closing gifts and other things simply can't provide. And, with that, I'd like to, because I know we're kind of on a limited timeline here, I'd like to keep that little part of it as short as I can. And we can ask a few questions. So if anybody has anything, I'd love to talk to you.
What makes it different from other closing gifts?
So, yeah, I see what I've always had a problem with the idea of closing gift in this sense. A closing gift, again, kind of going back to what I said earlier, a closing gift is something you hand somebody, or a gift in particular, something you hand somebody, it has some innate value, and they take it, they say thank you. And whether it's something they'll hold on to or not, it's pleasant and people enjoy those sort of things. What we're talking about really is a closing program, okay? Because programs, the word itself is different, okay? Because the gift, again, is finite. I'll use a box of chocolates, for example. And let's not do chocolate. Let's do muffins. Muffins are good because they're used quite a bit. So you give your customer a basket of muffins, and it's blueberry and strawberry and chocolate chip or whatever. But when the muffins are gone, they're gone. There's no way to make a muffin last longer than it's going to last. And in fact, if the muffin's not eaten, it's going to rot within a week or whatever. What we're talking about is a program that really is specifically tailored to how can I talk to my customer, and I use talk sort of metaphorically. How can I talk to my customer in a long-term sense without ever actually having to be in front of them? So I don't have to make phone calls, I don't have to send emails, I don't have to maybe send them yet another basket of muffins a year later or whatever. I'm going to continually talk to my customer in a way that they want to be talked to. So again, talking a little bit again about the branded receipts. Somebody buys, a pillow for their kid's bed, and that receipt comes in and says, "Thank you from, Larry and Sally Smith, real estate agency." Now that customer is going to go, "Oh, right, I got it. I'm being reminded of that in a very subtle and non-intrusive way." Okay, so now what you've done is you've done that positive reinforcement. You've done it very subtly. You've done it very non-intrusively, and importantly enough, it's going to last for a year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or however long they're part of that program. The important thing that we hear from a lot of agents is, well, this is all great. I'm going to go buy 2-year membership, for example, for $100. So what happens when that 2 years is over? Well, here's the beauty of the system or the program. Let's assume you've purchased that 2-year membership, but they continue the membership beyond what you purchased. They're still part of your program. So they're actually now paying a membership for 2 or 3 or 5 or however many years after, or endlessly in theory. Well, they're still part of your program. So every one of their receipts, every one of those branded receipts come in, and you're not even paying for the program anymore. So that's a huge benefit for any agent who's getting into this type of program. But the difference here is this is not a gift per se. It's a long-term strategy that I think really begins to make sense. Once you develop that long-term relationship with those customers, only good things will happen.
This is Carson. What's the benefit for my customers to be part of the silent marketing solution?
Right. So that is an interesting question because, programs have to exist like this where there's a benefit to everybody. It doesn't do any good for you to give a membership to a customer and then they find out they can still get those products cheaper everywhere else. And I'll use some furniture, for example. What the silent marketing solution really is about is giving customers the ability to purchase anything they need when they need it at a really, really great price. So the shopping company, which of course is sort of the parent company of this whole thing, this whole program, is structured around the idea that members, which is essentially what you're giving your customers, a membership, but members get wholesale pricing, true wholesale pricing. So whatever the shopping company pays for that product, they pass that same price on to their customers. So for example, furniture is a perfect example of something that not only do people who are moving into homes need, but typically are quite expensive. Now, we in the shopping company can save 30, 40, 50, in some cases 60% off retail pricing. I'll give you an example. We had a customer up in just outside the Seattle, Washington area that bought an entire bedroom set, and there was also a dining set thrown in there. That entire purchase was just about $7,000. Now you think, wow, that's a lot of money. But when you do the retail price on it, it was really almost $16,000. So we save more than 50%. And that was including all of his shipping and getting it there and so on. So, when you throw in shipping costs, if you subtract the shipping costs out of the cost of the product, really it was about a 65% savings. I could give example after example after example of those type of savings. Clearly, when products become very nominally priced, I'll give an example of an iPhone case or a smartphone case. That's a $10 or $13 or maybe even a $20 product. Now you would say, okay, if I pay $19 on everybody else's site, I'm only paying $16 or even $15 on the shopping company as a member. That doesn't seem like as big a number. From a percentage point of view, it's still 30%, but it doesn't seem as dramatic. But when you take all the products over the course of a year or 2 years or 5 years, and you begin to add them up, that's when your customer really begins to notice and grab hold of how much money they're really saving. And then you come around full circle and say, this is precisely what the program is all about, is that positive reinforcement that allows people to save a lot of money on all kinds of products. And then the long-term marketing portion of it takes hold, and they're going to remember who gave them all that. And that's the important part.
This is Melissa. What's the process for signing up?
So the process for signing up is really quite simple. Again, for those of you who maybe haven't had an opportunity to go to the website yet, it's just silentmarketingsolution.com. And there's a login form that you simply fill out the information. And it's actually, to log into the back end of the system is a simply 2-part question, a username and a password. And then after that, all you have to do is fill in the information, who that inevitable customer is that you'd like to give the card to, your information, and so on. It's very simple. It just takes you just simply purchase your membership, purchase your gift card if that's what you want to do, and it's a done deal. So the entire process can be done inside of just a minute or two, and then typically what happens is those memberships are mailed straight to the customer. So this is kind of a two-part thing. You can either have it mailed straight to the customer, in which case they receive it anywhere from 5 to 10 days later, depending on where they're at in the country, etc. Or we can have it mailed to you, and you can hand it to them yourself and sort of make a special event out of it if that's what you want to do. The third option, and it's an option that's used a little bit, is sort of a split the difference. Once you're part of the program, we can actually send you some pre-made some pre-made cards that say you've been given a gift of, so that you can hand it to them right then and there. And then the actual gift card and membership card arrive to them in the mail some days later. So that's sort of, finding that middle ground where you're able to maybe, get something right then and there when they're in front of you. But then the actual purchase comes in the mail some days later. And that seems to work well, for example, like with some title companies we're working with, so with some mortgage companies we're working with. They like splitting that difference because for them, they don't necessarily know exactly when their customers might be in the office. A title company may have a particular date scheduled for the signing, and then something changes at the last minute, and it gets pushed up or pushed back, and it makes it tough on them. So this is a great way to find some middle ground.
And here's one from an email. What is the cost of Silent Marketing Solution, and how will customers see the information?
So obviously cost is a huge factor in almost anything, particularly in the modern age we live in. So when the Silent Marketing Solution really was developed, it was developed in a way that was as cost effective as it could be. So for those of you maybe who haven't had a chance to go on the website and see the actual prices, I'll start with those. A 1 or 2 year membership is $59 per year, so per membership per year. So if you want to buy your customer a 1 year membership and give them that option, it's $59. If it's a 2 year membership, it's $108. Now, as years get extended, we actually lower the price. So anything, say 5 years and beyond, is actually $49 for each year. So it's incredibly cost effective. Now, the trick here is that we also include, it's completely optional, but we include the optional added value gift card. Typically what this does is really gets sort of that initial shop under your belt, if you will. It might not be the best way to say it, but it gets the people, your customers, online, gets them shopping, gets them enthusiastic about the site, particularly when they see the prices. And what we found was that typically people, let's say there was a $50 gift card and there's different denominations that are probably really, pick one, whatever fits your customer the best. But let's assume it's a $50 gift card. They almost inevitably always bought more than that gift card was worth. So a $50 gift card really turned into a $100 purchase, and so on and so forth. And that really started them on the site, getting used to how this site is maybe a little different than a lot of sites as far as the tiled look and so on. But it was exciting for them, and I think that is something that a lot of the agents and the builders really enjoyed giving. And then the nice part was those same people stayed onto the site. They shopped more often. They came back, and that's where then, of course, the long-term part of the program really kicks in, because again, unlike, let's say you want to give your customer a Lowe's gift card or a Home Depot gift card, when that gift card is done and the money has been expended, the gift card typically gets thrown away and your gift has ended. Now what we're talking about is a program, and that's, again, the big difference for the long-term portion of it.
We are now closing questions. Thank you to Mark for your time and to everyone for participating in this webinar. Tune in again for future real estate webinars.